What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be breaking down the latest events in Attack on Titan. Events that really crossed a critical line in the development of Eren as a character. What just happened will have a massive impact on the entire story going forward. This was a brutal chapter, and yet something else might be going on here. Something that could change everything, so let's get into it. If you enjoy the Attack on Titan content on this channel and you want us to keep it going, please leave a like to let me know. And if you're new to AnimeUproar or you just haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. I know it can be a hassle, especially if you're watching the video without signing in, but if you don't actually subscribe and then hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, you're never gonna see a lot of our videos. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Finally, this video will of course contain Attack on Titan manga spoilers. We're dealing with the very latest events in the story, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. The latest chapter starts off with that pickpocket boy who lives in a refugee camp on the continent. The same boy who was saved by the scouts during their initial incognito visit to Marley. As you'll recall, this kid whose name is Ramzi attempted to steal from the scouts, but he was caught and nearly killed by the Marleyans after Levi revealed that he was a pickpocket. He was saved by the scouts after Sasha claimed that he was her little brother and that no crime had actually taken place. Ramzi was later also saved by Eren from being beaten to death. In the present time, Ramzi is shown hiding his stolen loot. He speaks to another little boy, Halil, who appears to be his brother. Ramzi tells Halil that once they steal enough valuables, they will be able to find a better place for the refugees to live. It turns out that since his encounter with the scouts and Eren, Ramzi had one of his hands cut off for stealing, and Halil warns him that if he keeps stealing, he is going to lose his other hand as well. But Ramzi is determined to keep going. The refugees can't continue living in the raggedy tents that they are currently living in. Every winter, people die just because of their poor living conditions, and Ramzi can't sit back and watch as this continues to happen. Ramzi is of course aware of the risk that he is taking, and in fact he shows Halil where his loot is hidden so that if Ramzi is caught and killed at some point in the future, Halil will still be able to find the valuables and give them to the others. This brief conversation between the two refugee boys is absolutely brilliant from a narrative perspective, and I say that because in just 2 short pages, this exchange tells us so much about the struggle of the refugees and about the motivations of Ramzi as a character. These pages also reveal the extent of Ramzi's commitment and his willingness to sacrifice his body and even his own life for his people, even at such a young age. And I honestly think that these 2 pages, the first 2 pages of this chapter, are a perfect example of brilliant manga storytelling. So much is revealed in such a short period of time, and we suddenly understand and actually care deeply about the struggles of these poor refugee children. Kudos to Isayama and the Attack on Titan team. This is a great example of why Attack on Titan is such a great manga. The conversation between the 2 refugee boys is suddenly disrupted as they see that people from the town are running for their lives. On top of that, the ground itself is shaking. The birds and other animals are panicking and fleeing in all directions. As the boys look out over the hilltop, they realize that millions of giant titans are coming their way, and these titans are leveling everything in sight. We then jump to a flashback that shows Eren's perspective. Back when the scouts had secretly visited the continent, Eren already knew that he would one day massacre all of these innocent people. We know he had access to the Attack Titan's future memories even then, and so even though he wasn't sure when exactly this was going to happen, Eren already knew that he would one day return to this place and that he would destroy everyone and everything in it, including Ramzi. In the flashback, Eren is clearly conflicted about what he knows that he is one day going to do. On the one hand, he realizes that finding a peaceful solution is going to be impossible, and that he is going to have to go through with the rumbling in order to save Paradise from the outside world. But on the other hand, Eren wonders what his own mother would think of him if she knew that after everything that happened to them during the fall of Shiganshina, Eren would one day be doing the same thing, and even worse, to millions of innocent people. Eren thinks back to Grisha's showdown with Frida Reese and the other members of the Reese family. Eren knows that if King Fritz's ideology was followed to its inevitable conclusion, then all Eldians would eventually be exterminated, and even though that would have been a tragedy, compared to the population of the rest of the world, the extermination of the Eldian population would actually have meant a lot less death and destruction than Eren's current plan, at least in terms of sheer scale and numbers. And yet, Eren simply could not agree with Karl Fritz's ideology. He could not stand by and allow everyone he ever knew and loved, his entire nation, to be mercilessly sacrificed just because their ancestors made mistakes hundreds of years ago. Eren realizes that he is now the same as Reiner. No, actually he is even worse, because while Reiner wanted to sacrifice the Eldians on the island for what he believed to be the greater good, Eren is prepared to sacrifice the rest of the world for the benefit of Paradise and its people. I recently made an entire 20-minute video about the tragic life of Eren, and in that video I talked about Eren's stunning and tragic progression from an idealistic boy who wanted to save humanity from the Titans to a cold and calculating mass murderer who decided to destroy humanity with the help of the Titans. I won't go into too many details about Eren's internal struggle here so as not to repeat myself too much, but if that is something you are interested in, feel free to check out that video, link in the description. Back in the present, all the refugees, including Ramzi and Halil, are trying to get away from the rumbling, but it's no use. The Titans are too fast, and they have already cut off most of the possible escape routes. No one is safe, and escape is impossible. Young and old alike, all the people here are doomed to fall victim to Eren and the rumbling. As we see Ramzi and Halil trying to escape the inevitable, Eren reveals that the outside world didn't end up being anything like what he thought that it would be. It was very different from the world that he had seen in Armin's books. In fact, Eren was disappointed when he learned that humanity lived outside the walls. Eren would have liked it better if the outside world was nothing but vast and endless wilderness, just the peace and harmony of nature. And this is a very important point, and it echoes something that I mentioned in my Tragic Life of Eren video. Even at the very beginning, when we thought that the main villains of the story were these gigantic, inhuman monsters known as the Titans, there were always clues that the real villains were actually humans, including the corrupt and oppressive government on the island, the kidnappers who killed Mikasa's parents, and so on. As the story goes on, it is only confirmed further that the real villains of the story are not some mythical, inhuman monsters, but rather humans themselves. When we take this into consideration, it is no wonder that Eren was disappointed to learn that humans lived in the outside world. If the outside world had been empty of human life, like the Eldians behind the walls thought it was, then this outside world would be full of endless possibilities. There would have been vast lands to explore, and Eren would have been free to go anywhere and see anything. But wherever there are human beings, there are also wars, suffering, greed, and so many other negative things. As we see Eren in his flashback telling Ramzi that he is sorry, in the present, both Ramzi and Halil are crushed to death by a colossal titan. And just as these two refugee boys meet their tragic end, we see the original Ymir Fritz standing on the street and watching the entire scene unfold. But here's the interesting thing. From the way that Ymir is portrayed here, to me it looks like she is watching this scene from the future. She kind of looks like Eren and Zeke looked when they were watching Grisha's memories from the future. Maybe I'm looking too much into this, but I feel like this brief glimpse of Ymir could end up being very important. Let's not forget that while Eren and Zeke were looking in on scenes of Grisha from the past, Eren was able to influence the past by interfering with it directly. Future Eren was able to convince Grisha to take the Founding Titan power after he was about to give up on his plan. If this is actually Ymir from the future, or perhaps Ymir from the past witnessing a future memory through the Attack Titan, could she actually do something to change what just happened. Could she somehow hit the rewind button and influence Eren in a way that prevents this tragedy from happening? I might be overthinking this, but that brief glimpse of Ymir Fritz could end up being more important than we realize. We then see a series of scenes between Armin and Eren, which are a blend of flashbacks and events happening in the present. On the one hand, a young Eren dreams about freedom and soaring above the clouds, as free as a bird. But on the other hand, those clouds beneath Eren are not clouds at all. They are the scorching steam coming off the wall titans, the steam of the rumbling. And speaking of Armin, the chapter then jumps to Armin in the present. Armin appears to have felt through the paths that Eren was thinking about him. But instead of Eren, Annie calls out to Armin, and he sits next to her and has an emotional conversation with Annie. Annie thanks Armin for talking to her for all those years that she spent trapped in the crystal. Annie says that she thought that she would go crazy from the loneliness, and having Armin and Hitch to talk to was the only thing that she had to look forward to for all those years. Annie doesn't understand why Armin would waste his time talking to a crystal rock, but Armin blushes and says that he wanted to see her, strongly implying that Armin does indeed like her. And at the thought of this, Annie blushes too. So the Armin and Annie shippers will definitely appreciate this section of the chapter. There is definitely something there. Although with Attack on Titan, romance seems to always be just an afterthought. Armin then confides in Annie that he always thought that the promise he had made to Eren as a child would one day come true. And that is of course the promise to go on a journey into the vast unknown world beyond the walls. Annie tells Armin that the unknown world wasn't that great after all, and Armin admits that the world is very different from what he and Eren had dreamed of. But as a seagull lands on the railing of the ship right next to Armin, and as he looks the seagull right in the eye, Armin says that he still wants to believe that the unknown must be out there somewhere beyond those walls. In my opinion, the word unknown here represents the ultimate outcome of the rumbling and the still uncertain future of the world. But after what we've just seen Eren do, is the fate of the world already set in stone? Or can things actually change? The first part of this chapter definitely suggests that the line has been crossed and that there is no going back for Eren or for the world itself. However, then we see Ymir Fritz potentially looking at the present from the future or the past, and then the second part of the chapter shows us that Armin still has faith that something could change. Armin still believes that this current tragic outcome may not be set in stone. At least that is my interpretation of this Armin moment and of his conversation with Annie, but let me know what you guys think. Can the tragic present potentially be changed? Perhaps by Ymir Fritz influencing the present from the future. Or maybe Ymir from the past changing the future after seeing the future memories through the Attack Titan. Or could Armin potentially do something to influence Eren and make him change his mind? Or has Eren crossed the point of no return? Is Eren already destined to destroy the entire world? Or will something or someone change his mind? Please share your thoughts, comments, and predictions down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Attack on Titan content on the channel, please leave a like to let me know. It really does help. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar, or you just haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons who make videos like this one possible. An extra special thank you to Alpha, a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, Alolanatum, The World, Steelers, A Quiet Respect, Pate Heffa, Jonathan King, Brandon Aviles, Papa Smurf, Emperor Otaku, Thomas Jones, and Kinmano. Finally, big thank you to all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, Anatoly Kazatsky, Angel Cruz, Cricket XP, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Alicia Akhter, Jessica K. Lafont, Hinokami and Water, Bonnie Parks, Rathuin Deora, Deadly Saint, and Stern Hawkins. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our Patreon exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.